The 7-word Instagram comment that just sent shockwaves through the entire WNBA wasn't just petty drama. It was the moment Caitlin Clark finally exposed what's really happening behind the scenes in women's basketball. A corporate war so intense that it's literally changing how athletic sponsorships work forever. And Sophie Cunningham just dropped a truth bomb that has Kelsey Plum scrambling to save face. Before I reveal the explosive details that mainstream sports media is too scared to touch, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Because what I'm about to expose involves leaked corporate emails, backdoor negotiations, and a level of brand warfare that makes the NBA look like child's play. This isn't just basketball beef. This is a billion-dollar battle where every Instagram post is a calculated strike. Let me take you inside the war room where this all began. While everyone was focused on the All-Star Game drama, I've been connecting dots that paint a much darker picture. This goes way deeper than Kelsey Plum's snarky comment about 0 members of Team Clark being present for that CBA meeting. This is about 2 athletic giants fighting for the soul of women's basketball, and Caitlin Clark just delivered the knockout punch. Here's what the corporate executives don't want you to know. Under Armour has been bleeding money for 3 straight years. Their stock price crashed 40% since 2022. They were desperate for a savior, and Kelsey Plum was supposed to be that hero. They poured millions into making her the face of their women's basketball division, built entire campaigns around her veteran leadership, positioned her as the mature, professional alternative to Nike's flash and glamour. Then Caitlin Clark signed that $28 million Nike deal and changed everything overnight. But the real tea that nobody's talking about? Sophie Cunningham just went nuclear on her new podcast and exposed the whole scheme. And I quote, "It literally makes me mad when people say Caitlin's not the face of the league." What? When people try to argue that she's not the face of our league, or if our league would be where we're at without her, you're dumb. You're literally dumb. End quote. That wasn't just Sophie being a good teammate. That was a calculated strike at the heart of Under Armour's entire marketing strategy. Because Sophie knows something that most fans don't realize. She used to play for the Phoenix Mercury. She was in those locker rooms when teams were plotting to quote-unquote toughen up Caitlin Clark. She heard the conversations about showing the rookie what the W really is. And now she's spilling all the tea. The timing of Sophie's comments wasn't random either. It came right after Kelsey Plum made the biggest strategic blunder in sports marketing history. Picture this scene at the All-Star Game. Players are wearing "Pay us what you owe us" shirts. It's a powerful moment for the league. And what does Kelsey Plum do? She turns to the media and says, and I'm quoting here, "Not to tattletale, but 0 members of Team Clark were very present for that." The camera caught Sabrina Ionescu's face in that moment. Pure disgust. Because Sabrina, who's also a Nike athlete, immediately understood what just happened. Kelsey Plum, an Under Armour athlete, just handed Nike the perfect ammunition on a silver platter. Within hours, the corporate machinery kicked into overdrive. Nike's digital team launched what insiders are calling Operation Swoosh. Every algorithm on every platform suddenly started pushing Caitlin Clark content. Stories about her economic impact flooded the feeds. Her jersey sales numbers mysteriously leaked to every major outlet. The message was clear: you come for our athlete, we bury your brand. But here's where it gets absolutely wild. A few days later, Kelsey Plum posts an innocent-looking Instagram photo from the All-Star weekend. Seems harmless enough, right? Wrong. Because eagle-eyed fans noticed something in the background. A massive Nike logo perfectly positioned in the frame. Caitlin Clark saw it too. And her response? 6 words that destroyed an entire marketing campaign. Thank you for the Nike ad. The corporate world lost its mind. An Under Armour athlete accidentally giving Nike free advertising while trying to shade their biggest star? The irony was so devastating that Under Armour stock dropped 1.8% within 48 hours. Nike gained 2.3%. We're talking about millions of dollars in market value shifted by a single Instagram comment. But Sophie Cunningham wasn't done exposing the conspiracy. On her podcast, she revealed the dirty tactics teams were using against Caitlin all season. Quote, "Even when I wasn't on her team, I know the talks that Phoenix had in the locker room, like, no, we're going to show her what the W really is." And now, being on her team and seeing it, I'm like, what are people doing? It's just too much. It's too much. End quote. Think about what Sophie just admitted. There were actual team meetings dedicated to targeting one rookie. Locker room conspiracies to rough up the league's biggest draw. And why? Because Caitlin Clark's success threatens the entire power structure that veteran players like Kelsey Plum built their brands on. The evidence is everywhere if you know where to look. Remember when Plum picked up Clark full court during an exhibition game? That wasn't competitive spirit. That was a message. Remember when she tried to get refs to call a technical on Clark for standing and talking on the bench? That wasn't gamesmanship. That was desperation. But the moment that really exposed the agenda happened earlier this season. Kelsey Plum spotted a fan wearing a Caitlin Clark shirt at Crypto.com Arena. What did she do? Told the fan to, quote, do better, unquote, then handed them a Sparks shirt. Imagine being so pressed about another player's popularity that you're literally trying to convert their fans one by one. Here's the kicker, though. While Kelsey Plum was playing petty games, she forgot one crucial detail about WNBA rules. Players without qualifying shoe deals must wear Nike. It's literally in the collective bargaining agreement. So when her rookie teammate Sarah Ashley Barker needed new shoes, guess what Plum couldn't provide? Under Armour sneakers. She had to call Sabrina Ionescu to hook her teammate up with Nikes. The optics were brutal. An Under Armour athlete begging a Nike athlete for shoes because her own sponsor can't compete with league rules. Plum tried to spin it by posting that it was because of stupid WNBA rules, but the damage was done. She exposed Under Armour's weakness to the entire basketball world. Meanwhile, Nike just signed a 12-year extension with the WNBA worth significantly more than their previous billion-dollar deal. They're now the exclusive uniform provider through 2037. Under Armour, they're struggling to keep the few athletes they have from jumping ship. But Sophie Cunningham revealed something even more damaging about Kelsey Plum's brand betrayal. She pointed out that players are literally making money from the increased viewership that Caitlin brings. Every sold-out arena, every record-breaking broadcast, every merchandise sale puts money in veteran players' pockets. Yet Plum chose to bite the hand that feeds her for what? Brand loyalty to a failing company? The psychology behind this is fascinating. Kelsey Plum left Nike for Under Armour in 2022 after 5 years with the swoosh. She thought she was betting on the underdog that would treat her like a superstar. Instead, she became the face of a brand that can't even provide shoes to WNBA players without special contracts. Sophie Cunningham understood the assignment from day one. When she joined the Fever, she didn't just become Caitlin's teammate. She became her enforcer. Remember when Connecticut's Sun players were getting physical with Clark? Sophie literally got herself ejected defending her. Then she called out the refs publicly saying they're, quote, not protecting the star player of the WNBA, unquote. That's the difference between Sophie and Kelsey. Sophie recognizes that Caitlin Clark isn't just a player. She's an economic force that's lifting the entire league. Kelsey sees her as competition to be torn down. One approach builds dynasties. The other destroys careers. The corporate implications run even deeper. Nike has filed patents for something called Integrated Athlete Ecosystem Technology. Basically, they're building an algorithm that turns athlete controversy into immediate sales. Every time Caitlin gets targeted, Nike's system converts that drama into revenue. They're literally monetizing the hate. Under Armour is at least 2 years behind in this technology race. Worse, every time Kelsey Plum creates drama, she's feeding data directly into Nike's algorithm. She's helping her competitor perfect the weapon that will destroy her own sponsor. It's corporate suicide disguised as competitive fire. Let me break down the numbers that have Under Armour executives panicking. Since Caitlin's thank you for the Nike ad comment, social media engagement for Nike basketball content increased 340%. Nike's WNBA merchandise sales are up 400% year over year. Under Armour, they won't even release their numbers anymore. But here's the smoking gun that proves this was all orchestrated. Industry insiders have leaked that Nike's marketing team has been running something called Project Domination since Clark signed her deal. The goal? Systematically dismantle Under Armour's presence in women's basketball by exposing their athletes' insecurities and mistakes. Kelsey Plum played right into their hands. Every petty comment, every passive-aggressive post, every attempt to diminish Clark's impact just reinforced Nike's narrative. Under Armour athletes are bitter. Nike athletes are winners. Under Armour complains. Nike dominates. Sophie Cunningham dropped another bomb when she said, quote, "I just hate when people do stuff to get attention. It's like clickbait." And there's so much clickbait, especially surrounding Caitlin. Just be nice. Why can't people just be nice? End quote. She's calling out Kelsey without saying her name. Classic Sophie. The aftermath has been devastating for Under Armour. 3 of their WNBA athletes have quietly started exploring other options. Agents are advising clients to avoid the brand. Youth players are refusing Under Armour sponsorships because they don't want to be associated with the losing side of this war. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark hasn't said a single word about the controversy since her Instagram comment. She doesn't need to. Her silence speaks volumes, while her success does the talking. Sold-out arenas everywhere she goes, record-breaking viewership numbers, a signature shoe deal in development. She's living her best life while Kelsey Plum is still explaining why she accidentally promoted Nike. Sophie Cunningham summed it up perfectly when she said Caitlin is, quote, super nice and really freaking good at basketball, unquote. That combination is kryptonite to bitter veterans who thought they owned the league. They can't attack her character, so they attack her presence. They can't match her talent, so they minimize her impact. But the real genius of Caitlin's strategy is how she turned their negativity into Nike's marketing campaign. Every time someone like Kelsey Plum takes a shot, it just highlights the difference between Nike's excellence and Under Armour's desperation. It's corporate Aikido at the highest level. The latest development is even more embarrassing for Kelsey Plum. Sophie revealed that after the Sun Brawl where she defended Caitlin, her Instagram and TikTok followers surged past 1 million. She's literally getting famous for protecting the player that Kelsey tried to tear down. The universe has a sense of humor. Here's what makes this whole situation even more ironic. The Pay Us What You Owe Us campaign that Kelsey used to shade Caitlin, it's succeeding largely because of the attention Caitlin brings to the league. The new media deals, the increased sponsorships, the sold-out arenas, that's the Caitlin Clark effect. Kelsey Plum is fighting for higher pay while attacking the person most responsible for making it possible. Sophie Cunningham gets it. She said, quote, "Who cares who gets the credit? If you're smart, you're making money off of them. Like, you are literally making money from the viewership." End quote. That's the mentality of a winner. Recognize the rising tide and ride the wave instead of trying to build a dam. The corporate fallout continues to spread. Under Armour's women's basketball division is reportedly undergoing a complete restructuring. They're desperately trying to sign new athletes to change the narrative, but nobody wants to join a sinking ship, especially when that ship's captain is out here giving free advertising to the competition. Nike, on the other hand, is expanding their WNBA investment. They're creating youth programs, grassroots initiatives, and development leagues all branded around their star athletes. Guess whose face is on all the promotional materials? Hint, it's not the player who spent her all-star weekend being petty. The psychological warfare aspect is what really sets this apart from typical sports drama. Caitlin Clark understood that in the social media age, the best response to negativity is devastating politeness. Her thank you for the Nike ad comment was perfectly crafted, friendly on the surface, savage in its implications. It's the kind of response that keeps Kelsey Plum up at night. Sophie Cunningham took a different approach. She went full scorched earth, called out the haters, exposed the locker room conspiracies, and made it clear that she'll physically fight anyone who comes for her teammate. It's the perfect good cop, bad cop dynamic. Caitlin kills them with kindness while Sophie buries them with truth bombs. The lesson here is bigger than basketball. We're watching the real-time evolution of how corporate partnerships work in professional sports. The old model where athletes just wore logos and collected checks is dead. Today's athletes are brand warriors engaged in complex psychological operations that can shift billions in market value. Caitlin Clark mastered this new reality before she even played her first WNBA game. She understood that every interaction would be weaponized, every response would be analyzed, every move would have corporate implications. So she built an image that's impossible to attack without looking petty and jealous. Kelsey Plum represents the old guard desperately clinging to outdated strategies. She thought veteran status and trash talk would maintain her relevance. Instead, she became a case study in how not to navigate modern sports marketing. Her Under Armour deal might have seemed smart in 2022, but now it looks like career suicide. Sophie Cunningham chose the winning side, and she's not shy about it. She's using her platform to expose the truth about how Caitlin has been treated and why. She's calling out the jealousy, the conspiracies, and the corporate machinations that tried to dim Caitlin's star. And she's getting rich and famous in the process. The bottom line is this: the Nike versus Under Armour war in women's basketball is over. Caitlin Clark ended it with 7 words on Instagram. Sophie Cunningham is dancing on the grave. And Kelsey Plum is still trying to figure out how she became the face of corporate failure. So what's the takeaway from all this? If you're an athlete in 2025, you better understand that social media beef has real-world consequences. Every post, every comment, every piece of drama is potential ammunition in corporate wars you might not even know you're fighting. Choose your sponsors wisely and your battles even more carefully. The Caitlin Clark effect isn't just about basketball anymore. It's about understanding how modern influence works and weaponizing it for maximum impact. She turned haters into marketing material, controversies into cash, and negativity into Nike's gain. That's not just smart, that's revolutionary. The story continues to evolve every day. Sophie Cunningham just announced new partnerships and projects that will further cement her status as Caitlin's protector and truth teller. Kelsey Plum has gone suspiciously quiet on social media. And Under Armour, they're reportedly exploring a complete exit from women's basketball. What do you think about this corporate clash? Did Caitlin Clark just revolutionize how athletes handle brand warfare? Is Sophie Cunningham the teammate everyone needs? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because this conversation is far from over. If you want to stay ahead of the game and understand the real stories behind women's basketball, you need to subscribe to this channel right now. I'll keep exposing the truth that mainstream media won't touch and bringing you inside information on the corporate battles shaping sports. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. Until next time, remember, in the game of corporate chess, the queen always wins.